I bet. Trying to think of other times. Can you guys think of any other times we were retarded when we were kids? Just dumb shit we did. There's so many stories. All the times I gave my brother a concussion on accident because WWE, you know, it only happened twice. And only one of the times in my, actually, I'm going to say I'm blameless for all of it.
Carry on. So the same thing would have happened if you weren't there.
Actually, that's not true. One of those times he didn't even get concussed. The time that I tied him up and put him in a wagon on top of a hill and pushed him down it, and he ran into a tree by happenstance. It wasn't on purpose. He was meant to just go see how fast he would go. And he hit his head. He didn't even get concussed. It was only the time that we were playing WWE and I was practicing the finishing moves in our concrete unfinished basement that I smacked his head and he couldn't remember that we had spaghetti 20 minutes before.
I agree. That doesn't sound like your fault at all. No,
it wasn't I didn't mean to.
That doesn't make it less your fault.
No, it does. It does.
That's not how
kindergarten rules. It turns out like they need to know that when you're playing WWE 1998 and one of the special moves of the coolest character is grab them around the waist and slam them down, that I'm going to do it on concrete. And I'm going to remember the sickening crack of his head on that concrete for the rest of my life.
I mean, who could have predicted that would hurt him? You can't know some things.
I was like 7. But I was built like a 12-year-old.
Yeah, when you're a kid, you seem pretty indestructible, right?
Yeah. Like, do you remember having that like not cogent, but that thought in your head? I remember like watching movies and shit where someone gets shot, and I'm like, yeah, if I got shot, that wouldn't have happened to me. I'd be fine. Oh, if I got hit by a car, probably the car that would be damaged. Like when I was like 5 and 6 years old, the idea of me dying wasn't even real. You know, like you think I'm indestructible. Everyone else is just, it's like solipsistic in a way where like everybody's a little actor in my movie. And then you get a little older and you're like, oh shit, like that kid in my class who got hit by a car and definitely didn't damage the car at all.
I must have maybe I'm remembering this in a faulty way, but I feel like as I turned 31 in a month or two, it felt like when you were a kid, you could like sprain your ankle and then like by 5 p.m. you're good to go again. Like maybe you hurt it, maybe you're out for a day or two. Nowadays, if I get out of the car wrong, it feels like it's gonna hurt for a week. I don't know.
Oh, it gets worse. Have you tried to go on a trampoline in your 30s? I climb on and I'm like, why does my head already fucking pounding, man? I sprain my back brushing my teeth now.
Oh man!
I have to think while I'm fucking so I don't accidentally pull something that I didn't even know I had before. Taylor, I didn't know that went away. That you like every time there's like every 9/11 comes around, I'm sitting there going, yeah, I totally would have fucking stopped. I have elaborate fantasies of how I would have stopped it. I think everyone does that still. Like,
oh yeah.
Do you remember that Mark Wahlberg interview?
Yes.
Where they were like talking to him about 9/11 and he's like, yeah, I think I would have stopped it. It would have gone down differently if I was on that plane.
Oh no.
It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Jesus.
No, come on.
Don't like, hero shame him.
Actually, no, that is a pretty cool thing to say. I would have stopped it. I would have stopped that in the subsequent 18-year war.
Every school shooting, I'm like, man, fucking wish that would have happened to me. I'd be all over the news. The local
fire in library book setting, frisbee style.
I do that a little bit, yeah. But now the plane thing, I think I wouldn't have done anything because my entire life, up the first 30 years of it, if a plane gets hijacked, what happens is you don't get to land at your favorite airport and you have to wear the same underwear for 3 days. That's the consequence of getting your plane hijacked. It ruins half of a vacation. And that's it. That's all that ever happened for like my whole life, according to my foggy memory. They didn't crash the plane into buildings or the ground or anything. They just made you sit there and held you hostage until they changed their mind. So I think
but I would have known something was up, Woody. I would have known.
Oh, well, yeah, you would have.
I could feel it in the air. Yeah,
I would have known.
Look in their eyes, man.
They got a box cutter to some lady's jugular, and you're like, I think I could disarm him in time.
That would have been if I were on that flight, because I would have been like fucking 10 or 11 or whatever. All I would have done is sit there with my Pokemon game and been like, this is gay. And that's what I would have been thinking about as I flew into the building, was just how, all the parents were being dumb and panicking. Like, I guess I wouldn't have stopped it. There's no way I could.
How old were you, 10?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was 2001. Yeah, so I'd be 10.
Yeah,
they would have never expected a 10-year-old coming at him, though, Taylor.
Ooh,
they wouldn't have. And by the look of me, I was much older.
If you guys don't know, one of Taylor's claim to fame is hitting puberty at like 9.
Hit me like a train. Like it's just like
without exaggeration, could you have grown your current beard at 12?
No, I couldn't have done that.
No,
I definitely not at 12. I remember though, because there was this one fucking weird autist at our school that got ripped on for everything. Like he was just fucking strange and weird, and not even like the kind where it's like, oh, at least he's friendly. No, he wasn't friendly. He was a prick and retarded. And he started
because you guys were bullying him all the time. Jesus
no, I wasn't.
Yeah.
This is the meanest thing I've ever said about him right here. I actually had him over to play Halo more than one time because I felt so bad for him. I never made fun. Because he was the kid that I always thought, even later into high school and shit, like, I am always going to be nice to this kid. I'm going to continue to be nice to him because if I'm going to be the guy in the parking lot, if he ever shows up with a gun, he'll go, Taylor, go home. And so I knew I'd be safe from that. I was always cool to that kid, but he was weird, and he started shaving in 8th grade, which was like way earlier than most people. And it was like the you know, those like thick hairs that like you can step on and give yourself a splinter. Like sometimes I get those that'll come out of your beard, and he got those, and he did not take care of it. And people ripped on him all the time, being like, you have facial hair. It looks terrible. You look awful. You look gross, fatty. That had nothing to do with it, but they call him that too. And I remember being so afraid of being like that guy that I had my dad teach me to shave. And like all of 8th grade, I meticulously would shave to make sure nobody could tell that I was growing a bunch of facial hair. And then next year, everybody decided it was cool to start growing beards because one of the popular kids started growing a beard. And then I just let it go. And it didn't look great for a while. But man, I hope you're doing well out there, guy. Last time I spoke to you, you helped me at I totally forgot about this. Last time I saw that guy was like 5 years ago. I was at a mall in St. Louis, and I was in the food court, and I went up to the Chick-fil-A, and I was waiting, and it was a set of like 3 cashiers because Chick-fil-A's are always busy. And as soon as I get in line, one of them leaves, and this motherfucker comes around the corner, and he recognizes me. And I get up to the front. He's like, Taylor, how's it going, man? I'm like, hey, pretty good. And he's like, that's good to hear. Really not going well with me. My mom died. I was like,
that's too bad, man.
Man, can I get a number 1 and a Diet Coke? Oh, that was the most uncomfortable I've ever been at a Chick-fil-A. Most of the time, I feel very welcome, knowing I'm safe. So
safe. Wow. They hate gay people
from homosexuals.
Yeah, yeah. From all those mass shooting gays out there.
You gay,
yeah. As if being gay is a bad thing, Woody. Maybe I am gay.
I'm such an
Woody
asshole.
had to stop and think for a second.
No, I held it back. I'm like, well, so here's my thought process, right? If black people can say the N word and gay people can say the F word, that's why Taylor gets to say the R word. But we could throw the F in there to round the package out if he were gay.
See, F word doesn't work. Fuck already has that on lock. They got to think of the new thing.
Yeah.
The bundle of
I'm actually,
word.
As your resident SJW, I'll tell you that the way that we say it is F slur. That's how people know that you're
okay.
referring.
Slur.
Yeah.
Me too, actually. Destiny, I think horseshoe theory is right. We talk about it so much that we've already figured out how to say it to each other.
Oh, there you go.
On my end, I use it so much in private that I have to have something to say in public. On Destiny's end, he's probably castigating people like me. But yeah, F slur. It feels good to say too. F slur.
Or another replacement is people are saying frog instead of I don't know what we're allowed to say, but instead of the
frog.
F slur,
not frog for heaven's sake. No, back it off, Destiny.
Well, so for instance. Oh, okay. So instead of, so you know how you would say things like he's a new fag or an old fag. Well, now they say new frog or old frog to replace it. So now everybody's happy, except people that love frogs, I guess.
And French
I never
Canadians.
even thought about the new fag, old fag thing having that word in it. Like it was just like an internet term. Like,
no.
I don't know, but I also miss a lot of